Hello, welcome back to the Nook. I'm Daniel, and today I'll be reviewing The Silver Chair by C.S. Lewis, Book 6 in the Chronicles of Narnia, and this is the penultimate installment. And all penultimate means is the second to last book, so the last book is The Last Battle. So before I get into my review, I will just read the back here. Narnia, where giants wreak havoc, where evil weaves a spell, where enchantment rules. Through dark dangers untold, and caverns deep and dark, a noble band of friends are sent to rescue a prince held captive. But their mission to Underland brings them face to face with an evil more beautiful and more deadly than they ever expected. So, if you remember from Dawn Treader, which was my least favorite in the series, Eustace was a character in Dawn Treader. He was with Edmund and Lucy in Narnia. So now this book starts off with Eustace, who's often called Scrub in this book, where he meets Jill Pole, who's a young woman he's friends with, and they go to a really bad school called Experiment House. And this school involves just they don't treat the students well, there's a lot of bullies, and Jill is crying, and Eustace finds her crying, and she kind of wants an escape, and he says, "Hey, I know a way we could escape all this," and he's talking about Narnia. And basically, through certain events, they find themselves in Narnia, and Aslan gives to Jill a task. She has to follow these signs when she gets to Narnia, and these signs will help her and Eustace save Narnia. Um, so this story takes place after the events of Dawn Treader. So Caspian at this point, because as you know, Narnia has a different timeline where however many years go by in our world, it's different in Narnia. And King Caspian, who is now the king, he's an old man, and Eustace and Jill see him as an old man, um, but he has a son, and his son, I believe, is Rillian. I could have that wrong. And basically, Rillian is what the quest is all about. He's the prince that's gone missing. There was a whole thing where the prince's mother was bitten by a serpent who was green as poison, and he chased after the serpent, and then he was never seen again. So Prince Rillian is the prince that they're sent to find. And one of my favorite things about The Silver Chair, because this is one of my favorite books in the series, is you meet a character that joins Eustace and Jill to find the Prince Rillian, and this character is Puddleglum. So Puddleglum is a creature known as a marsh wiggle, and he's kind of this froggy guy, like he's bipedal, but he's got kind of webbed feet and webbed hands, and he is honestly one of my favorite characters in Narnia. So he's a wet blanket. So Puddleglum, he does the whole worst case scenario. Like there's a scene where Jill falls a little ways into a hole, and Puddleglum says, "Oh well, both legs are probably broken. I'll bet." Like he's just very negative, and that somehow becomes an endearing quality where you kind of love Puddleglum. And honestly, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a scene near the end in the final confrontation with the evil where Puddleglum plays a major role, and because of him, they're actually saved. So actually, Puddleglum kind of saves the day. But this book's great. It's really an adventurous story. Puddleglum and the kids travel. They end up with some giants. They end up in all sorts of places. Honestly, I think it's a great book and a great addition to Narnia. Yeah, so it's basically this journey of finding the prince and restoring him. And it's a quest. Like most of Narnia seems to be a quest, right? There's always the quest that the characters are on. And I mean, I don't know what else to say really without spoiling anything. But it is a very good book. I quite enjoyed it. Again, Puddleglum's great. Uh, and yeah, you get more character growth with Jill. This is your first time meeting Jill, and she's good friends with Eustace. And of course, you realize at this point Eustace is a much better person than he was in the Dawn Treader. Dawn Treader, Eustace was a brat. He was kind of the worst, and he goes through some stuff that I didn't talk about in Dawn Treader to keep it spoiler free. But Eustace goes through a journey, and it involves Aslan. So everyone in Narnia that meets Aslan, it changes them for the better. You remember Edmund met Aslan in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and again, Aslan kind of changed him and helped him and forgave him. Eustace kind of went through his own redemption arc in Dawn Treader, and now in the Silver Chair, again, Aslan, I'm trying to remember Aslan's role in the Silver Chair. He does show up. He shows up at the beginning. He shows up at the beginning where he gets them to Narnia, and then Aslan shows up at the end to kind of heal things with the school when they come back to the school. So I guess I didn't really touch on how they got to Narnia. It's not really a spoiler, but Aslan uses his breath to blow them into Narnia. So basically Eustace and Jill are standing over a cliff, and Eustace is scared. This is when they want to get to Narnia, but they're being chased by the students. And they have a struggle, and Eustace falls, and Jill thinks she's killed Eustace. And then what happens after that is Aslan blows Eustace into Narnia so it cushions his fall. And then he later blows Jill into Narnia, and she has these signs. So even though Jill messes up the signs and things don't go so well at first, in the end, they're able to save the day. That's all I'll say. And there's some really great moments. It's kind of a battle at the end. Like I said, Puddleglum really shines in this book in one scene. So yeah, that's all I can really say spoiler free. If you haven't read it yet, we'll read the other ones previously and let me know what you have read. Remember to like and subscribe. And until see you next time, remember, you're always welcome at the Nook. Bye.